I remember asking a pastor once, do you believe in reincarnation? And he said, Pete, would you like me to answer as a pastor or as an African? I said, answer me first as a pastor. And he said, as a pastor, I don't believe in reincarnation. Fine. Now answer as an African. And he said, look, but Pete, you know that this thing exists. So you see, it's difficult to actually say it exists or it does not exist.
Every African, every Igbo person should believe in the concept of reincarnation. Now, we only debate reincarnation because some persons, our colonialists, came and told us that there is nothing like a reincarnation. Instead, they gave us heaven and hell to basically believe in. But the truth is that nobody knows what happens to our consciousness, to our soul after death. Every culture basically gave an understanding of what they perceived the afterlife was going to look like. In Igbo culture, our ancestors observed that amụọ nwata na nwata na-eyi ibe ya. When they give birth to a child, the child could either resemble the mother or the father or somebody within a lineage. So when these things happen, they term this person Obum, Onya Bobo, might look alike, and this person also behaves like that late or dead ancestor. So this basically made them to now know, understand, and interpret that people don't just die. We also have the opportunity to basically reincarnate and come back to life to basically fulfill some kind of purpose or gather more experiences. So these are the interpretations that our ancestors gave it. Now, reincarnation also gives us the opportunity to lay foundations that we are going to benefit from in our next reincarnation. So with this understanding, our ancestors now began to keep legacies. They now built structures. They now lived their life in such a way that they are going to come back and basically have a good one. Now this is where we also have this aphorism, Onye mema one when you're good, when you do good to people, when you cherish people, when you leave a good legacy, you come back to this planet, this earth, and basically, reap the benefit of your goodwill or your goodness that you put into the system. When you do all those things, it is there in front of you waiting for you. Now, when you're an evil person and you push so much hatred or so much wickedness into the world, that wickedness, it is going to wait for you, and you're going to benefit or reap from that wickedness that you have put into your society. Now, like I said before, because of our ancestors believed in reincarnation, they now build structures and institutions and prepare things that they are going to basically use and enjoy when they come back in their next reincarnation. Now, our current belief in the concept of heaven and hell, it's basically a bastardization, because now our belief in heaven as a reward and hell as punishment now makes it so that we want to abandon this place and run off to an imaginary palace where our laziness is being tolerated. Because if you understand the Christian interpretation of heaven, is where you go and you basically just you while away your time. There is no pain, there is no suffering, there is no struggle. So people just want to basically naturally people want to basically attach themselves to that kind of an imaginary place. Because imagine our ancestors are telling you that you're going to come back here and basically reap the benefits of your goodwill, which also means that you're going to experience all these life struggles and the problems that are associated with basically living. But when you now look at this idea of heaven as a place where you don't even have to raise your hands and do a thing, the only thing you need to do is basically sing praises and to God and all those things. So it's understandable why people will think that heaven is basically a better place or is a better deal to basically associate yourself with. But that kind of perception now makes it so that we are now suffering the consequences of that kind of an afterlife that is waiting for us. Because what this thing now means to Africans is that we no longer care about making this place, this earth, a better place. Now, instead, we are basically pursuing this illusion that we call heaven. We're just pursuing something else because we feel that there is a better place than here. Therefore, to hell with basically developing or making this place to be better. Now, while we are basically headstrong and trying to believe in this idea of heaven, and hoping that when we die we basically go into this heaven, other parts of the country, other parts of the world are busy, focusing on keeping legacies that their children, their generation are going to, benefit from. But in this place, nobody is trying to basically develop this place, because all of us are just trying to basically run off to heaven and basically prevent, so far we don't go to hell. We all just want to basically run off to heaven. So you see people, they are locked in the churches, they are just there trying to basically pray every now and then, because they want to basically get, have like an all pass ticket into this illusion, and making this planet, this earth, our hometown, our country, our regions to basically suffer. So this is the after effect of us leaving our indigenous system and basically looking into the indigenous systems of other people. Now, according to Pete, he asked the pastor if they believe in the concept of reincarnation. Now, for the Igbo, we believe that reincarnation is real, but this concept that we have in Igbo spirituality can be interpreted with different perceptions. You can basically instill them and put them into different narratives that are going to basically make more logical sense. So I don't want to constrict the idea of reincarnation to just be a religious belief, because everything, every concept, every belief system, every practice has a purpose that it is serving for Igbo people, and this is how our ancestors instituted it. They looked at things and they basically understood it in a certain way, and they left it to be subjective to interpretation, because they understood evolution, they understood change, which with time goes on and as things evolve, different subjective interpretations are also going to come around, and people are going to basically interject their meanings to all those things. So do you believe in the concept of reincarnation? Do you think heaven is the goal, or should we basically revert back to understanding that reincarnation gives us an opportunity to make this world better? Now that's why we hear our ancestors saying owamumbo owamasa, or they will tell kanje pota. So when we see our elders dying, we don't necessarily cry, because some of them would console you and tell you not to cry, that they just want to go and come back. So these are the perceptions that our ancestors have. Now, whether reincarnation is real, whether heaven or hell is real, I think Africans should basically start seeing things from how their ancestors saw things. Now, once we see it that way, then we'll basically be able to basically demystify this spirituality, demystify our system, and basically, use the things around us to basically develop our society, to basically develop our country and our Igbo. And until next time, yeah, guys, yeah.